gentlemen, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is Honest to God, a production of The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio. Super pumped to be here today. We are rocking and rolling. We've got another Knights of the Round Table episode. We got oldies but goodies like Esteban and Lorenzo, and we got the needs to be more frequent, but coming in wheels squealing from Alabama, fixing every HVAC unit in the Southeast. Rob, it's good to have you in studio.
Makes you savor his presence more. It's a treat, you know.
Exactly, yeah. And it's very comfortable in here. I know that if anything weird goes wrong, Rob can take care of us, right? If the temperature fluctuates like it shouldn't. Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, Rob.
As always, we got producer Madeline.
Happy to be here.
Happy to have you here, Madeline. She's pushing buttons, tickling keys.
I am.
Making magic happen. It's pretty fantastic. All right, well, we got a great episode today. Happy Mother's Day. I guess Mother's Day Eve, right? Is that... Yeah, we're the Saturday before Mother's Day. We can call that Mother's Day Eve. And we're going to be talking about honoring your mother, right? A man's duty. But before we do that, we are going to begin, as we do all things, in prayer. Rob, you're the convert, man. You mind?
I got you.
I'm ready when you are, brother.
All right, in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Lord, we ask that you guide our words, our thoughts, and our hearts as we talk today about our Blessed Mother, our earthly mothers, our bride and bride-to-be, and all the ladies that we love in our life. Please, Lord, we ask that you let us speak of them and with the utmost respect and the utmost dignity. We ask this through the loving name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Excellent.
Amen.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Don't grade prayers if I did. 91.5 is what I would give that one.
Too generous.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, we don't do fun facts anymore because they weren't fun enough. Powers that be didn't like it.
Took up too much time, unfortunately.
I know. So I'm just going to bring it up. Now I'm just going to complain about how we don't do fun facts for the same amount of time that we used to spend on fun facts.
You like the fun facts?
I liked them. They were fun. Like a heavy hitting episode,
Sure.
like the one that we did last time. It's probably not good to.
Sure.
It might have been good, like in with fun facts.
Yeah.
Like to finish with
pizza.
hey, here's where poodles
Maybe
come
a
from.
fun fact intermission just to take a breather.
Yeah, let's just take a break and
Yeah.
talk about like the guy who invented the tire swing or
Right.
something. That'd be fun. But I like it. I just want to do whole banter episodes. If it were up to me, there would just be episodes where we talk about random crap. Nobody would listen
I'm
to
with
it,
that.
but I would really enjoy
That'd
it.
be fun.
I'm
yeah.
with-
just
well, that's how
fun.
Joe Rogan started. It was just him and his buddies bantering.
Yeah, just talking about random stuff,
Random.
and then it's fun.
Yeah.
I can do that all day. But we're not going to do that on this episode of Honest to God because I'm super pumped to be talking about moms. Moms of all varieties, right? Big
Moms.
shout out to my mom, Judy Spann, down in Americus, Georgia. I'm a big fan of Judy Spann, and she listens to all of these eventually. So, hi, Mom. Love you.
Hi, Judy.
Oh, thanks.
Sure.
So, do you mind? Esteban is like, he comes in here prepared for these. He's got like he comes in with a script with like a run of show, and I actually like unironically really appreciate it because
Thanks.
you know how I roll. I just kind of come and sit down and I'm like, what's up? What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, it's yin and yang, and I guess I'm in roofing, so I don't really get to scratch my appetite for academic rigor as much.
Some geometry involved, right?
Right. So here we are. Just a little kind of overview of what we're talking about today. Honor your mother, a man's duty. Be a man. Love the right ladies. So what we're going to go over is St. Thomas Aquinas Ptolemy. Peaky Blinders a reference. Thomas Aquinas' understanding of honoring, what that means. So there's 3 ways to honor, and then who to honor. So really, if you're lucky, you have 2 women to honor in your life. It's your mother and your bride, and each of them have a spiritual counterpart that's revealed by the wisdom of the church. So we'll get into that, but we can start at the top.
I love it, man. I want to start just kind of big picture, right? What does it mean to honor anything, right? I feel like honor is one of those words that has lost a lot of meaning in the past, 100 years or so, right? We think about honor-based societies. We think about men and women should have honor and now I feel like a lot of times, unfortunately, like a lot of things that are good, right? Like a lot of things that are, true and good and beautiful, they've become sort of reduced to almost a caricature of themselves, right? Where you see, like, think about a movie, like the movie Men of Honor or whatever, and a whole lot of it was about like all these terrible things that are going on, or like, you know what I mean? I feel like honor has been almost satirized or something. Yeah. What'd you say?
Diluted.
Diluted. Yeah, absolutely. So what does that even mean? We say, I mean, I agree conceptually with the idea of you should honor your mother, but I know what a mother is for sure. Not sure about honor.
True that. And I realized I didn't really know what honor meant when I wrote it down as a title.
Nice.
So I decided to look up the source of lots of wisdom, or the conduit of lots of wisdom, better put, which is St. Thomas Aquinas. So he says that honor denotes a witnessing to a person's excellence. And he says observance is the virtue whereby we show due honor and reverence to those who excel in dignity. And finally, there are 3 ways to honor that are based on that kind of understanding of honor, which is is the recognition of excellence, kind of drawing your attention towards it, interior reverence of that excellence, and then external acts expressing that reverence.
Got you.
So we'll just get into actionables about what those 3 look like.
No, I like that. I like sort of honor as you're witnessing, you're acknowledging sort of the inherent dignity or the dignity owed to someone or something. I like that. That makes a lot more sense. And it also makes sense to me why you can honor, someone could say they're honoring the flag that's a cloth and doesn't have any inherent dignity as a cloth, right? But because of what it denotes, right, that's the dignity that you're recognizing. And okay, I like this. Look, I've already learned, we're 5 minutes into the show, I've already learned something else. Rob, do you want to define what mother means? That might be too easy. No. Yeah.
Mother?
Yeah.
Hey, Mom.
Oh. Yeah. And by I'm going to be very upset, by the way, if nobody has given a shout out. Anybody here has not given a shout out to their mom by the time that this is over. So I want to start though. I want to start with the concept of sort of honoring our mother, but I want to start sort of bigger picture with that, with this new definition, right? The dignity owed to women generally, right? And I want to start with that because we live in a society, right? We live in a culture that, I don't know, since about I don't know when Playboy came out. I mean, it was definitely before that, I guess, but sort of societally, right? Recognizing the inherent dignity to femininity, maybe personhood in general, but because of today's episode, femininity specifically, right? We have seen that degraded. We have seen our understanding of the dignity of women, right, reduced to objectification and dehumanization and all of these things. And so I want to talk a little bit about the dignity due to women in general. If anybody has any thoughts on that.
I think where we could start, right, whenever you're correcting someone or trying to talk about modesty in this sense of the word of giving someone their dignity, we have to be very careful to toe the line, because as men, it can sound very preachy to be like, oh, well, girls need to do this. But so as guys, right, we have our own version of modesty where we have to control our eyes, right, custody the eyes. We have to control our thoughts. And we can do that through the grace of God and through self-discipline. So if you notice someone wearing something a little provocative, then you turn your gaze away from them and say a little prayer for your sister in Christ, right? So that's something that we can do just to give them the dignity, even if they're dressed a little more provocative.
Sure.
Right? It's our job to protect and preserve the dignity of ourselves and of our ladies.
So I think that's actually super worth drilling down in on, because I think so often we have this question. I give a lot of talks to college guys. I was at UGA last week and I was giving a talk, and a lot of it we're talking about the dignity that's owed to women and all these things. And a question I get all the time is, what if they don't recognize that dignity in themselves? How am I supposed to respect, how am I supposed to honor this girl's femininity if she's not acting in a way that's dignified? But that's the answer. It's beneath your dignity too, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of this, it's like when you face two mirrors at one another and that going back and back forever, right? You should be reflecting it regardless of whether or not it is owed. It is owed intrinsically because she's a daughter of God and a princess of heaven.
Right.
Right. But it's also beneath your dignity not to show her that honor, right? Not to recognize that dignity.
Yeah.
I don't know. Y'all got thoughts on that?
I was thinking, because you're saying, like, how do we I guess uncover our own dignity. Like, how do we figure that out? How do we protect it? Like you said, like, how do we develop it? And I think to do that is to develop the dignity of woman is actually the means of understanding our own dignity. Because throughout all of history, it has actually been women who are the ones that civilized men.
Dude, I've been on this so much lately. Yes. Sorry, go off.
No, you're good. Because, it's no coincidence that as Playboy started, also the civility of men have, went down at a proportionate rate, and we are in charge of protecting the church from sin. So the way we do that is like you said, like we maintain the dignity of the woman by not, enabling her by like complimenting her, how do you say, like her provocativeness? Is that how you would say?
You're saying not doing that?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Promiscuity,
Promiscuity, things like that. Yeah. And so, like you say, you turn a blind eye, you keep yourself chaste because you know that this is the means, to maintain your own dignity as well. And so it's kind of like how the church is with us as well. It's like it's what maintains our dignity. It what lets us know what makes a dignified man.
Right.
The church compiled together the Bible, and the Bible tells us how to be a dignified men. So therefore, the church is the woman, is the mother that keeps us dignified. So I would say it is a protection of woman's dignity.
This is rabbit hole a little bit, but just back to what you just said. Why is it that we always refer to the church as a she?
Because the church is our mother, and in her loving guidance, she guides us with a gentle correction. Not saying, right? So let me rephrase this. In the Diary of St. Faustina, she refers to God as being mother-like, which, not in a blasphemous way, she's saying that as you would run to your mother away from judgment, but towards that mercy, because the mom in the relationship is mercy. Because, as a kid, you run to your mom, you did something bad, she says, wait till your dad gets home. Right. There comes justice.
Oh, yeah.
So the church, in her mercy, she guides us with gentle grace in how to live the life that Christ expects us.
Right. That's a good answer. I was just going to say she's the bride of Christ. That's what I was looking for. That was really good, Rob.
And that's definitely kind of a core depiction of her. And this is something that I've been especially just thinking about, kind of in awe of just the how harmonious this is when it comes to theology of the body. One of the ways that the truth of the motherhood of the church is manifest is the fact that we take the Eucharist inside. What does that mean? Well, what is the kind of one of the most, or if not the most honorable thing a woman can do? It's to carry life. It's to be the vessel for life. And that's what the church is for us. Mm-hmm. The church is where the seed meets the egg, if you will. We receive the seed of God, and in the church, in the womb of the church, is where that life is created. Right. The eternal life enters us, and so that's what it is. It's like and something I've realized more and more is how the truths of God are kind of manifest in these little beautiful symbols scattered throughout the church and reality and biology and physics. And so the reality of biology and the way that we procreate, that is just a symbol, not just a symbol, but that is symbolic of our communion with the church. Mm-hmm. That's what it's emulating.
Right.
Yeah. That's awesome because, you just kind of like reminded me, it's like, the feminine has always been something that, encapsulate, like in a womb kind of thing, that always like nurtures inside and brings it life, kind of like the Ark of the Covenant. It hosted like a womb, God. Yeah. And just like the church is, it encapsulates and nurtures like the beauty of God and its art and its knowledge, His wisdom, and its priests and sisters and things like that. So yeah, I would say also that's a big reason why we call the church, a she, our mother.
That was great.
Things like that.
Yeah. So. And I'm not going to go off on this tangent because I think I did recently on an episode, but I love what you said about women civilizing man.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I always joke that without men, women would have all been eaten by saber-toothed tigers, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Without women, we would still be sitting around a campfire laughing at our own farts and like daring each other to try to jump over the crocodile.
yeah.
I bet you won't jump on the crocodile over there. I bet you won't do it.
And we'll probably be eaten by saber-toothed tigers just because we dared each other
On
to.
dares.
I was
Right,
gonna say, that
Same
sounds a lot
result.
like how I was before my
I
conversion.
double
No,
saber-tooth
exactly.
tiger.
It's like I was when I met my wife, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, I want to die to myself for you, and if I want to do that, I can't do all this other stuff that I want to do, which is
Yeah.
fun, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
not as good,
Right.
right? All right, so let's talk about our actual moms. I like how this is built into sort of 3 levels, right? And I guess the first question I'll ask should be a pretty big one, but honoring your mother is a commandment, right? We are commanded by God. It is a mortal sin not to honor your mother and father, but we're talking about moms today, right? Why is that?
So, to start this off, right, and then someone give a better answer than I'm about to do. But so a part of my conversion was I had to find a way to honor what God commands.
Rob was
Wow.
Jewish, by the way, in case.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to
Yeah.
throw that out there. It's a big deal. It's a great
Um,
episode, by the way. We'll link it in the show notes. It's excellent.
So I had to find a way to honor what God commands us to do, even though my parents were, and for lack of better terms, were mad that I chose to say no to my brother and his wedding. And I had to tell them in a very respectful and loving way that you're wrong, right? So when we're taught to honor our father and mother, it's giving them the due respect that they deserve. And even if that means that first you have to, acknowledge like how good they really are. Like my mom is so much love and mercy all put into one small little person. But then when I became a man and I had to step away, then I had to start landing on my own 2 feet. I find Christ and I say, okay, it's time to take this serious. Mom, what you guys are doing is wrong.
Right.
Right? I'm not dishonoring her because I'm trying to guide them through my actions towards Christ.
Right.
Right? I'm still giving them the due respect that they deserve because they're my parents, they raised me. But there's a caveat where just like how if the husband leads the wife or leads the family into mortal sin, it's the wife's job to pull them out of it.
Sure.
You can look at it the same as if your parents, either out of ignorance or just not wanting to do it, it's your job to gently and lovingly guide them towards Christ. Don't forget the gentle and lovingly part. Don't tell your parents they're wrong. But I'm saying if the time comes for you to make your witness, do it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and you can do that once again in a way that I think that does honor your mother and father. But why is honoring them a commandment? That's what I'm all about.
Well, going back to symbols, and again, asterisk, it's not just a symbol, but it is a symbol, is I think God emulates the relationship of mother to son, mother to child, after his relationship with his children. All the truth of God is embedded in everything that is good. And so that's why I think we need to honor our mother and father, because that is his creative kind of emulation of his relationship with us.
Mhm.
That's our first experience with God, because we as infants, preteens even, you don't really know what it is to have a relationship with God. But you
Right.
do know what it is to have a good or bad relationship with mom. And psychology shows that the neural tracks that are literally physically ingrained into your brain from your maternal relationship and your paternal relationship, those are 2 separate neural tracks in the same neural system. Those are repurposed for your romantic relationships.
Is that a real
Wow.
thing?
It is
That's
a real
super
thing.
interesting.
It is. And so if that's the case, then what could that mean spiritually if we apply that same principle?
Right.
So I think that's why.
Yeah. I was also say the same thing, like what he was saying, like if you can't honor your earthly like mother and father, then how are you supposed to honor your spiritual mother and father as well? I think that's also another huge simple reason why, he asks us to honor them.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and going back to what Rob said, I think it's a super important point of honoring does not mean always say, yes, you're right about everything.
Right.
Now, maybe there is a time and place, right, when you're a certain age where, I mean, right now I got a 2-year-old toddler running around the house, and when mom says do something, she's got to do that thing. There's no, and right now I got how old's the next one? 7-year-old, right, who we're in the same boat, right? The answer a lot of times is I'll explain it to you after you say yes and you do it. Then you can ask me why I'm telling you to do that thing, and we can get into it. But we're not doing that right now. But and that's always been tough. I've always had a tough time sort of articulating that, right? And that's why I like the sort of the definition here in the quote from the Summa of just because I disagree, because I'm at the point now, once again, I have 6 kids, so I've got lots of examples of this. I got a almost 14-year-old, right? And he's at a point where I'm okay with him disagreeing with me, right? He still needs to do what I tell him to. But I'm super happy to sit down afterwards and be like, here's why I said that, man. Let's talk that out. Let me explain this to you, right? And sometimes he's made a good point and been like, I think it would have been better if we had done it this way. I'll be like, all right, that's good. Thank you for sitting down and explaining it. But it's not, I don't know. I think he's still going through these, right? He's recognizing my dignity in that, right? And he's got this internal reverence for like, and you're the authority figure. And I'm being deferential to you, Dad, right? But I think this might have been a better idea. I don't know. I'm learning a lot today.
Yeah. That reminds me of a story that you guys know Nick Freitas. He's used to be a senator, I believe, or a congressman. But he was a Green Beret. He's all about masculinity. And he was saying how his kids were in the kitchen, right? He had an older daughter and a younger son. His kids were in the kitchen. They were trying to bake a cake, and their mom gave them permission. And so the kitchen's a whole mess. He gets home from, I guess, like a field training exercise or something like that when he was in the military. And he gets home, the kitchen's a mess, and he just gets mad at him. He's like, clean it up, go to your room. And, he says this, so I'm not putting words in his mouth. And afterwards, his daughter, and she's only, a kid, right? Like maybe a preteen, but she's a kid. She goes up to him, and she's hesitant and kind of scared, but she toughens up, and she goes over to him and says, Daddy, I think you mishandled the situation because Mommy told us we can make you a cake.
Right.
And I don't think you were supposed to get mad at us like that.
Stop.
And so like in loving correction, right?
Right.
And then he said, you're right, I'm sorry. Like he showed her dignity as his daughter.
That's
like,
beautiful.
Like you can take correction as a parent.
Well,
right? As long as it's within that loving, dignified way.
Right. And I love these kind of laid out, right? External acts expressing that reverence. I always struggle, like I grew up in rural South Georgia. I call everybody ma'am and sir. I do, even if they're younger than me. If you're clearly a woman, I mean, even at school where I work, I'll say yes ma'am to a 7th grade girl who asked if she can go to the bathroom. I say yes ma'am, go ahead. And I've insisted on my kids, right? They say yes sir and yes ma'am to me. But if I'm really breaking this down sort of like rightly ordered, right, it's because right here, number 3, ways to honor your mother, external acts expressing that reverence. That's what it is. It's saying like, let me give you this title. And it can be, I'm saying, no, sir, I really don't want to do that. Please don't, whatever. But there's still something in it that's saying, and I'm deferential to you. In the same way that we're called to be deferential to the Lord. That's cool. I'm into this, guys. So I don't know. What about just sort of practical stuff? And we'll finish out the segment with practical ways that we honor mom. I like getting heady about it. I like getting theological about it. But like, what do you guys do? And I'll start. I'll brag. I'm not the perfect son by any means, but I do call my mom multiple days a week on the ride home, and I spend the 45-minute drive home talking to Judy. Love you, Mama. And just going through everything. And I do that because I feel like she is owed my time and my attention, and I want to do it. It's not like it's a chore to me. But yeah, now that I'm doing all this, I'm like, heck yeah, also I'm taking care of that commandment. Go team.
Right.
Yeah,
what about
it's
you
nice.
guys? Talk about mom.
So I've got 3 here that I put out.
He loves his 3.
I like my lists. And each one corresponds to the 3 ways to honor. So the first one was what you were talking about, John Henry, is expressing gratitude regularly through calling. Just call
Gotta
that
call.
lovely lady.
Call mom.
She loves it.
And she wants to talk to you.
She does.
Every time.
And not just chitter chatter, although they will chitter chatter.
Yeah.
My mom loves it whenever we let her in on something that we're struggling with.
Yeah.
And that's the second one, which is receive counsel respectfully. That corresponds to the interior reverence. That's, I think, a deep sign of love, is that you're trusting this. My son is trusting me enough to let me in on his struggles and is seeking me out, either as a listening ear or even asking advice. So that's, at least for my mom, I love you, Mom, really is great at receiving those things. And even with my friends, she was very motherly to them. I remember I would have, my female friends over, and I would be up in my room playing video games. They'd be downstairs talking about boy problems for 2.5 hours.
That's awesome.
I want to know more about my high school happenings than I did. And lastly, just to spend time with her.
Yeah.
Spend time with her, go on errands with her, cook with her, clean with her. Just be there. I think those are the 3 ways to honor.
So with Bella and JP, if I take them over to my parents' house we do like a family dinner once a week. If the weather's nice enough, we'll just go out for a walk. Like, it'll either be me and my dad. I know that's not the point of the episode, but lately it's been me and my mom, because my dad's been handling business. So me and my mom will go on walks with Bella and JP, and then she'll ask me about how work's going, and she'll give me counsel, even if I didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But that's the duty of the son,
Yeah.
is to gracefully accept it, and if you're wrong, you're wrong. Correct yourself.
And find some wisdom in it. There's
Yeah.
something in there.
Yeah.
There's probably something.
Yeah. But that's our thing right now is family dinners, and we've been going on walks.
That's great.
That's
So,
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Laura, you got 45 seconds to brag on yourself. Pat yourself on the back a little bit. But how you take care of mom.
I can't brag too much. I would say one big thing that, I definitely should improve on more, and it's something that my mom really appreciates, is that when she talks to me, I listen. Because she can tell when, like, my mind's somewhere else, and not really listening to her, and then she gets frustrated. But kind of like what he was saying, or like what both of you guys are saying, is like she really just wants to be a part of your life, and she is the only kind of person, she's the only mother you ever have.
Right.
And and when she's speaking to you, she is speaking the best words she can possibly
And
think
I
of.
would argue that except in the gravest of circumstances, she has a right to be a part of your life.
No,
Right?
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not
Absolutely.
saying 100%
Yeah, no,
of the time, but I am saying
Yeah,
99%
Yeah.
of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I want to talk all more stuff about moms coming up in a second. I want to talk about our Heavenly Mother, the Blessed Mother, and I want to talk about our brides. I think only 2 of us have brides. One of them almost does.
And
Yeah,
I love you, Mom.
Excellent. That's a great way to end it. We're going to take a really quick break. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is Honest to God, a production of The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio. We'll be right back. We are back. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is Honest to God, a production of The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio. We're still hanging out here with Esteban, Lorenzo, Rob, me, and producer Madeline. It's a good day. Yeah.
It is. I always turn my microphone off for these things, so
Oh,
I
I'm
always
sorry.
take a
I
second
like
to turn it back
bringing you in.
on.
It's fun to have you. But we're talking about motherhood right here on Mother's Day Eve. We just talked about our earthly mother, and now we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about our heavenly mother. You want to lead us off, Esteban?
Man, I am so unworthy to. But I, going back to something that Rob mentioned of how we kind of refuge into mom's arms. When we do something wrong and we know dad's going to be pretty upset.
Sure.
I spent a long time kind of a little bit paralyzed in the justice of the father and just crushed by it in a way.
Yeah, same.
And then I remembered I was Catholic and I get the Virgin Mary on my side. I mean, she's on everyone's side, but you know what I mean. And so I started to really work on my Marian devotion. And it's hard to put into words just the tenderness that I felt and the peace that I felt from that Marian devotion, which is practically just a daily rosary is what I really focus on. And then throw in Hail Marys in when I can, no pun intended. And I'm only just learning about her potency when it comes to spiritual
Well,
warfare.
demons are demons are terrified
Right.
of the Blessed Mother.
Right.
Hail Mary. I mean, I know I'm a Catholic and it's a cliche, but that's my go-to, right?
Yeah.
I rattle off the Hail Mary in Latin all the time. I start all my classes with the Hail Mary, right? And yeah, the devil is terrified. And I want to open this up to everybody in a second, but I just want to make sure I say this out loud. Guys, pray the rosary. You have time to pray the rosary.
Yeah.
You can pray the rosary. You can do one every day, and you can do a terrible one.
Mm-hmm.
You can do one that's not good. You can do one while you're driving. You can do one and forget what decade you're on, and just be like, oh well, I think I've prayed 4. All right, I'll just pick up with 4. It's okay, right? This is our mother that we're talking about. She's not sitting there, with a clipboard marking down every mistake we make so she can bring it back. No,
Just call her.
Yeah.
That's
call her
literally
out.
it.
And
Just
just
call
say
her.
it. I'm a big deer hunter. I've talked about that a lot on the show, and I always pray the rosary while I'm deer hunting. Right? I'm like strapped to a tree. I'm 20 feet up in the tree with a bow and arrow or a gun or whatever, and pray the rosary. And what happens fairly regularly is a deer will come out while I'm praying the rosary, and then I don't know where I am in the rosary. And I've done like 60 Hail Marys, I think, over and over and over again in one decade while this buck is coming close. And at the end, I'm like, I don't know where I was, and that's okay.
Yeah.
All right, next decade. And it's just beautiful. Pray the rosary. Talk to your mom. You got to call her.
That's it.
I didn't mean to rob you guys, but.
No, yeah, I agree. So I got vested with the brown scapular after I converted. I don't know if you guys go to, I guess I could say my parish on here, right? St. Michael's.
Totally.
Like in Woodstock?
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay, so you know
A lot
Father
of my friends
Fausto,
go
right?
there.
You know Father Fausto?
Is he like the main pastor?
No, he's the second one, the parochial vicar.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Well, I'm not there too much. But I know.
He vested me with my scapular, and
Cool.
so I prayed the rosary daily as a promise to our mother. But it also happens that whenever I go to confession with him, because he's like the priest that I always try to go to, my penance is always a rosary for the holy souls of purgatory, right? And I never really considered just how deeply of a devotion that he has to our mother, that he would send me, a sinner, into her arms for mercy.
Right.
So it's the rosary is a big thing, and if you don't know how to pray it, there's the Hallow app, there's YouTube.
The Bishop Barron Hallow, unparalleled.
Or John Henry right here, he'll teach you.
Or if you only have 90 seconds, you can do the Mark Wahlberg Hallow app.
That's right.
Yeah.
The NASCAR version.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you don't know how to pray it, just find a YouTube or Hallow and just listen to it and just go along with it. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
And if you mess it up, you keep on going, because there's more rosaries in your future.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
So can anybody speak to really quickly, and I think we're all on the same page, our listeners are probably all on the same page, right? But we as Catholics get a lot of flack sometimes for a sort of over devotion to Mary, right? And I'm not going to use the word worship because that's obvious nonsense, right? We obviously don't worship Mary, but I don't know, how do you respond to that? And I think we all know the answer, but can somebody give me a good, concise elevator pitch to why are you guys so focused on Mary? Aren't you ignoring Jesus? Aren't you ignoring, right, God the Father, God the Holy Spirit, so you can focus on this human woman who gave birth to Christ?
So what I would say is Christ tells us something and it's important, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can all agree?
Yeah,
True.
yeah, I agree.
All right. Son, behold thy mother.
Mm.
You going to argue with him?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Completely.
He literally tells you.
Yeah,
Completely.
yeah. One of my favorite analogies that I use to help people understand Mary is that they're like, oh, why do you worship Mary and things like that? It's like to worship Mary is like to give sacrifice for, and that's not what we do. But the analogy that I love to use is that God is the creator, and imagine that you're in the grocery store by yourself. And then you're like, I'm going to pick out, and you're a kid, because we're all children. And you're like, I'm going to pick out all the chocolates and stuff like that, and you're going to get cavities, and you're going to get sick and things like that. Obviously, that's not going to be in your best interest. But imagine you go with your mom, right? And then you're like, Mom, can you please help me choose, the best things for me?
Right.
Obviously, she's going to know better than you, what to pick off of the shelf. Obviously, she's not the one making the things off the shelves.
Yeah.
Right? But she's the one helping you choose the most nutritious stuff for you. And that's not saying that Jesus isn't doing that. He is the creator of that grace, which gives us nutrition spiritually. But just like how in James where it says that we're supposed to pray for one another, you know, like I ask you to pray for me, right? Obviously, we ask the saints to pray for us. Just how the centurion asked the most holy elders to go to Jesus and ask for him to heal his servant, right? We ask Mary, the person who knows us the best, to choose, you know, our nutrition spiritually.
Well, and to pray, to intercede on our behalf with her son, right? Because who has the ear of Jesus more than his mother?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I think about that all the time. I forget there's some, I don't know if you'd call it a joke, but about sort of the man who goes up to heaven and he's at the gates and the gates of heaven, he's turned away. He doesn't make it in, right? And he's kind of walking dejected along the walls of heaven, and you know where he's heading. He's not going to heaven. He's walking down the walls to the stairway down to hell, and all of a sudden he hears a psst, and he looks up, and there's Mary at the top of the wall, and she throws a rope over, and she's like, well, I'll figure it out. Come on, get up in here, right? Because she's there, and she has the ear of her son, who loves her and respects her, right? Also, and I think that I don't think we probably do as Catholics overlook this, is the fact that Mary's Immaculate Conception is such an important thing, right? To realize that with the exception, what are you going to say?
No, I just learned something about this.
Shoot.
Oh, I thought you were going to finish.
Yeah.
So with her Immaculate Conception, so in the Catechism it says this, but I only learned it from Trent Horn, and then I found it in the Catechism, right? But so in order for Mary to truly say, thy will be done, like in order to truly give her free consent, she had to be born without original sin. Because if she had original sin, there would have been an unhealthy fear there to say no to God.
That's
So
in the Catechism? Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
She had to be born without the stain of original sin in order to freely give her consent
That's beautiful.
to God's will.
Right.
Yeah, I was talking to about the Immaculate Conception with some kids the other day, and we were talking about the argument you'll hear sometimes from our Protestant brothers and sisters, right? That if she was born without sin, what did Jesus save her from if she didn't sin, right? And first of all, Mary did have the ability to sin; she had free will. He didn't take away her free will, right? But it was probably Trent Horn too, because I just rip off Trent Horn stuff all the time. He's amazing, right? Was the whole analogy? You've probably heard this of you're walking in the woods and you see a hole. Right? There's two ways to save somebody from that hole. Way one is they're about to stumble in the hole and you say, no, look out, there's a hole here, you're about to fall into it. And the other way to save them from the hole is, oh, you fell down in the hole, let me go get your ladder, right?
Right.
Mary was just stopped before she said, whoa, look out, there's a hole, walk around the hole. Jesus Christ still saved her from sin, right? Just like he saves all of us.
Yeah.
So, just a big, I don't think we could, I would love to do a whole show just on Marian devotions and how important that is. But if you don't have any devotion, if you're not doing anything, once again, just open that door crack. Just say Hail Mary occasionally. Just foster that relationship a little bit. Anybody have any excellent resources on Mary? Anybody have any excellent recommendations or anything? I know there's so many good books out there.
One that I really enjoy, is very educational, is Voice of Reason's lecture on the 4 Marian dogmas, the scriptural roots of the 4 Marian dogmas, which are there.
Yeah, we'll put it in the
They
show
are
notes.
there.
Brant Petrie, the Jewish roots of Mary, right?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
I've read that. That is up to my game in in Marian apologetics, but like so much. It's one of the best.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Read and learn, guys. But once again, most important, just honor her, right?
Yeah.
Honor your mother. Have a devotion to her. Talk to her. Call her. Absolutely.
And sorry, real quick. If you haven't heard of this devotion to Mother Mary, but if it's Mother Mary, Undoer of Knots.
Yes.
Is one of the most powerful devotions I've ever had the privilege to partake in.
We have a statue in my house of Mary, Undoer of Knots.
That's awesome.
She's doing that.
Yeah. So that's a great devotion.
Mary, Help of Christians is another one that we always say. Mary, Help of Christians, pray for us. All right, we've talked about our earthly mother. We've talked about our heavenly mother. This will be a fun one. I want to talk about the kind of mothers in our lives that are just in me and Rob's life, or soon to be in your life.
That's right.
Which are our brides, right? The only human beings that we're sacramentally bound to until one of us dies. It's pretty cool. And a big shout out. I think we mentioned earlier on this show. I know we did on the last one that Esteban just got engaged. Praise be to God. Congratulations,
Praise be to
bro.
God.
Praise be to God.
You got a wedding date yet?
Looking about a year and a half.
Yeah.
TBD. 2 big families. It's
Do it sooner
Yeah,
rather
no.
than later.
I would like to.
know.
I'd like to.
That's so fantastic. But I want to talk a little bit about that, and I want to open that by just a reminder that when we get married, right, the woman wears a white dress, and what does the white dress represent?
Life,
Purity.
Yeah, purity. Yeah. What does the man wears black suit, which represents?
death.
Death, right?
I did not know that.
I didn't
Yeah.
even think of that.
You
yeah.
die to yourself
Yeah.
Cool.
The idea is you are
Right.
dying to yourself.
because
So
you live
cool.
to serve the family now.
Mm-hmm.
Just as
Same reason a priest wears black.
That's
yeah,
good.
just as Christ, just as the priest wears black
Yeah.
because he dies to himself to serve the church,
Mm.
just as Christ died so that he could open heaven.
That is so cool.
Wow,
It's
that's
been
so
said
awesome.
before. I'll say it again. Catholicism is so metal, bro.
Yeah, dude.
That's
Absolutely.
hardcore.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Anyways, you were saying?
No, I just wanted to reiterate that, and I want to make sure that before we start this discussion, I make it really clear. I'm sure Rob would echo this. I'm saying this as a guy who absolutely does not have it together. I'm absolutely not a
Oh,
perfect husband. I'm actually
1000%.
not a perfect anything at all. I fail 1,000 times. Everything I'm going to talk about, I'm not even sure what I'm going to talk about. But everything that I'm about to say is is something that I've failed at, and something that I need to hear now. My future self needed to hear. Or will need to hear. My past self needs to hear. But what happens when we enter into a relationship, right, with our
Yeah.
bride, is I don't think we're capable of understanding it until we've received the grace of matrimony to begin with.
Yeah.
And I still am terrible at it.
So am I.
Oh.
I mean, so receiving the grace, right? So each vocation comes with the grace to fulfill that vocation. It's just a matter of whether or not you're going to accept it and use it. So I'm saying right now, everything I say is going to be held to account,
Sure.
right? Like Christ's judgment, that's up there for me. This is just underneath it.
Right? Sure.
So,
We're going to clip this and send it to her. So
Yeah.
when you are.
oh, that's a good one. But so what I'm learning is my engagement party. We had a book called The 5 Love Languages. One of
Yeah.
our friends gave it to us.
Yeah.
I can't stand that book. So
every girl in the world loves that book.
Yeah.
and every girl in the world can absolutely hate me right now for saying that. But listen and hear me out. The 5 love languages is great because you learn what they are, right? And you learn how to show them. Now, where it's not good is I got from it that each person has 1, maybe 2 love languages that they rely on. So I am now learning that it's not just 1 or 2, it's all 5. So you have quality time,
Physical
words of
touch,
affirmation, physical touch,
gifts,
acts of
gift
service, and gift giving.
Yeah.
Right? That's all 5 of them. And in order for your wife and your bride to truly feel loved, you can't just focus on 1 or 2. You have to focus on all 5 as if all 5 are the top priority.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And Lexi is absolutely going to hold me to account for that. Because I'm terrible at focusing on all 5 at once. I focus on 1 at a time,
Right?
and it causes so many arguments. You know,
How long have you guys been married?
We're coming up on 3 years now.
Oh, praise be.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's definitely. My focus is on bringing Lexi to heaven and bringing my kids to heaven, which is the goal for the married couple, is for the husband to bring the wife and the wife to bring the husband to heaven together.
Right.
Right. So, in a sense, take up your cross daily, deny yourself, and follow me. We have to look at our wives, because we're all men in this room. We have to look at our wives. Sorry, Madeline. We have to look at our wives as our cross, not in the terms of the burden that we carry, but in the terms of the path to salvation.
Right.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Because
That's really
when
good.
Christ died and opened heaven for us, he was on the cross,
Right.
right? So that's not just a tool of suffering, it's his throne and the key to victory.
So, yeah.
So our wife, for us, no matter how many sacrifices we have to go through, it's that servant. You've died to yourself to better your wife and to allow her to be that cross for you,
Mhm.
so that you can get to heaven.
Dude, that's as you say this, I see kind of the beauty of what a good woman brings out of a man.
Mhm.
Because you, I'll venture to say, are a very utilitarian guy. You're a pragmatic guy. I mean, you literally work on utilities,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like you look at things and the value is function. So your function is to get them to heaven. All right. However you get them there, whatever. Just like if you look at a field, you're like, the function of this field is to grow crop to feed my family. Then your wife comes in, she's like, put some lilies in there.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
I literally farm. This is a conversation I actually have.
Yeah.
I'm like, we can't. That's really good soil. We're not going to waste that on pretty flowers, babe.
There you
Come
go.
on.
There you
Potatoes
go.
there.
But God put lilies there for a reason.
Yeah.
He gave us beauty for a reason. He is beauty, and so that's what it seems like the woman pulls out of us is the importance of beauty is seeing beauty and helping it kind of come to light. Because if it was just us, we would just be sitting in a gray room, just trying to do what we can to
God,
to get there.
God is beauty. God is not utility.
Yeah.
I'm stealing that. I'm
Yeah.
using that whole
That's a good
analogy with lilies and potatoes.
That's something you got to
I'm
clip
cutting
right
that
there.
one out.
That's
If
I'm
it
not
was
gonna-
good, it probably was me then.
No, I want to say out loud, just as a reminder to everybody, once again, as somebody who needs to be reminded of this all the time, right? Especially, we're 15 years of marriage, 6 kids in. The constant reminder that my responsibilities lie first and foremost to my wife and not my kids is a huge one. That's one that I'm always having to be like, because if she and I break down and we're all focused on the kids, the whole family's breaking down, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I fail in my job as a spiritual leader of my household, right? If I fail to be the husband I'm supposed to be, I can't make up for that by being a really, really, really good dad, right?
Or businessman.
Or whatever it is.
Whatever.
Yeah, being able to bench press a whole lot of weight, whatever it is, right? I have to put first things first, and my vocation, right, aside from my salvation, right, my vocation is my wife and her salvation, followed by 10,000 other amazing things, including my children, right? But it's her first, and that is so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, practically speaking, and this is, I think, pretty common advice out there now, but I have to remind myself all the time, is you don't keep lists. You don't keep lists of, like, there's no tally marks of, like, yeah, I cleaned the kitchen 4 times last week, and you don't have to go to work every day. Like, you can't do that, because dying to yourself doesn't mean you get to die to yourself an exactly appropriate amount of, approximate amount of time as the other person.
Yeah.
It's not weights and scales and measurements and all of that stuff.
Yeah. I always tell my wife that I was blessed with forgetfulness, because we'll be in the middle of an argument and she'll say, well, when did this happen? And I'm like, I don't know. I cannot.
Right.
I don't know. I was blessed with forgetfulness. I can't tell you when it happened. All I know is that I'm feeling something for some reason. I'm not too sure what a feeling is, so explain it to me, but I'm telling you, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know about for you guys, but for me, I'm sure for you, feelings wasn't really a thing for us. It was more you feel bored.
Right.
But that's about it. And then you got happiness, which you can understand, and then you got, okay, I feel sad. I'm not sure why, but then
I have to pray for empathy a lot. I'm really bad about being empathetic, because I don't want people to feel empathetic towards me oftentimes. And so, it's interesting how male and female, he created them, right? Because my son gets that. If I'm like, hey, buddy, you all right? He's like, yeah, I'm fine, Dad. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
And then my daughter, like, all she wants to do is ask, am I okay? And same with my wife.
Yes.
I don't want my wife to ask me if I'm okay, because the answer is like, no, not really. I don't want to talk about it. I've been at work all day. I'm stressed about stuff. Can I just be home?
Yeah.
Right.
She's teaching us how to understand our emotions.
Yeah.
And in turn, that'll help us be better husbands and fathers. But, man, it is brutal trying to learn emotions when you're 20-something first starting out.
So on how to be a good husband, I am not a husband, but
You're about to.
But I'm about to be, and thank God, I've been given the most excellent example of a husband that I could dream up, which is my dad, our dad, and I'm not just saying that.
That's beautiful.
And I say this literally. In my 25 years growing up in that house, he has never come home in a bad mood. Maybe once.
It's amazing.
Once
It's
or
amazing.
twice.
That's amazing.
And
That's nice.
mind you, he's not working in a cushy little thing. He does sales to dentists and orthodontists. Some of the most pretentious medical practitioners. Love him, but dang. And he's getting told no all the time and getting missed. Never comes home in a bad mood. As soon as he comes home, he looks for something to do. Looks for a meal to cook, something to clean, something to take care of. I've never seen him watching TV on a weekday if the sun's out. And every time he has an apron on, it's with a smile.
That's beautiful.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Wow.
That's a
crazy.
blessing.
We gotta learn a few
My kids
things.
see me come
You guys
over
got to
and
meet him.
Yeah, they-
he's
They
he's
see
a,
me.
Yeah.
awesome. And one of my favorite stories, just little things I like to say about him, is I remember vividly one time I did something stupid, classic, and I think you were with me. And man, he sits me down, and I did it, and I offended my mom. I offended my mom. And he sits me down. He grabs me by the arm, squeezes tight, sits me down. He's like, buddy, I am your mother's husband before I am your father. Dude.
When my kids will tell you, when the words coming out of my mouth start being, you don't talk to my wife that way.
Yeah.
There's a time when it's still your mom. Hey,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't want to do that to mom. That's not okay.
Right.
But that's when it gets cranked up a notch. And that's
Yeah.
a way of honoring your wife, too,
Right.
I think.
That's
It's
right,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody talks to my wife that
Yeah.
way. I don't care if you're her son. I don't care if you're taller than she is now. I don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
Whatever. I want to make sure that we get to our last point with a few minutes left, but I did want to answer. It says, is asking about the challenging things about being a holy husband, and I'm not a holy husband, but I'm trying to be, right? And why is it worth it? And I want to answer the why is it worth it question just for any guys out there, right? I think there's a lot of guys who I don't know, who are scared of marriage, who are scared of commitment, and I can honestly say it's going to sound cheesy, and I don't care. It sounds cheesy because it's wholesome and beautiful and true, and we're all jaded and cynical, right? But it's worth it because it's what you were created for, right? Whether it's a husband to a woman, or whether it is it's a priest, right? As a husband to the church, being married to the church, it's what I'm created for, and I mean this 100%. My only regret in my entire life is that I didn't meet my wife sooner, right? I would go back and find her 10,000 times over again if I had to. And we fight, and we're broken people occasionally. I don't know if we fight. We argue, and we're broken people, and we fail in so many ways all the time. And it's the best thing in the world. And I'd hate all this marriage advice. These people will say, oh, it's hard, but it's worth it. Like, yeah, it can be hard sometimes, but it's the best thing in the entire world.
Anything worth
Right.
it is hard.
It's what I'm.
Yeah.
It's what I am created for,
Yeah.
and I fail in it every day, and it's great. I can't wait to do it tomorrow. So I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. Love
I
you,
second
babe.
it.
She won't watch this, but I still love you.
Lexi will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she can tell Angie.
She'll
that.
pass the word
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
All right. Last thing I want to make sure we talk about for these last few minutes, and we touched base on this a little bit at the beginning of the first segment, right? But we talked about our brides, right? Our earthly brides, but I want to talk about the bride of Christ. I want to talk about the Holy Catholic Church, one Holy Catholic Apostolic Church, and how we honor her. We talked about why she's a her, right? We talked about why church is the bride of Christ, but how do we honor her? Because I see a lot of people dishonoring the bride of Christ
Yeah,
in
definitely.
the world right now.
Yeah. I would say one of the biggest things, and this also applies to our earthly mother as well, is just like it's publicly, disagreeing with them,
Yeah.
I
Don't
think
air
that's
out your dirty laundry.
Yeah,
do
exactly. And for me, if I see somebody kind of like publicly bad mouthing their parents, it really gives me a bad feeling.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you're bad mouthing your parents, like you're definitely gonna bad mouth me,
Right.
And so I think that's one of the biggest things, especially because obviously the church isn't impervious to sin or misdirection. It happens all the time.
The people in the church.
The people,
Right.
Yeah, right. The people in the church, and we just don't go out saying, "Oh, the church sucks," and stuff like that. We keep it to ourselves, and it's a means of showing unity to the people, because that's why marriages are done in public, to show a public display of unity.
Well, it's the same reason why you're never going to hear me complain about my wife. Right.
Right.
When
Exactly.
I'm not about to say on this microphone anything negative about my wife.
Exactly.
Right. And there have been times, right, where I'm sure she complains about me or I complain about her. It's not a public affair. We complain to each other about one another sometimes, right? No, 100%.
Yeah.
What else? How else do we honor?
So when Christ gave us the two most greatest commandments, the first was to love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and body, right? So in doing that, we show the honoring of the church, right? So we honor the bride of Christ by fulfilling the commandments that
Yes.
God gave to us.
Yeah, we conform to the teachings of the
Yes.
church.
Yeah. And being modest in your speech is a part of that,
Yeah.
right? So even if there's something like, I don't think Pope Leo's actually done anything that I would ever disagree with, but I know Pope Francis was a very hot button issue,
Sure.
Mhm.
but so when he does something, being charitable in the way that you present it is a key portion to, like you said, publicly displaying
Right.
your affection for the bride of Christ.
Yep.
Right? And then going to Mass and fulfilling your obligations given to us by our blessed Lord, that's how you continue to, well, one, worship, and you continue to respect and show honor to Christ and his church.
Mhm.
Yeah. Go to Mass, conform to her teachings, right?
I
Love
want
her
to
publicly out loud.
I want to bring in a response to the question, "Why should I get married?" made by Jordan Peterson, which was, "It's generally a good rule of thumb to do what people have been doing for all of history."
Yeah.
And so that's what how I look at the church, especially when I was coming back to her. Was there's obviously something here that I don't get, and I'm just going to do my best to conform. And man, my life has changed.
That's great. Sort of a Chesterton sense thing, right?
That it is.
I love it, guys. This has been awesome. Thank y'all so much for being here. To all the moms out there, happy Mother's Day. To all the people who have moms out there, call your mom. This has been awesome. I appreciate you, Madeline. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks for listening. This is Honest to God, a production of the Quest Atlantis Catholic Radio. Producer Madeline.
Signing off.
Over and out.